Hey guys, the Mavic 3 Classic has been given its official launch. The avalanche of post-embargo scheduled reviews have flooded my YouTube feed and the DJI store is open for business. And as has become customary for me on this little channel of mine, that means it's also time for me to do a video about it. It'll be at least 100,000 subscribers until I get sent a drone by DJI, but I'm more than happy to supply some context and analysis for this newly released drone and maybe help you guys decide whether or not the Mavic 3 Classic is worth buying, whether it's your first drone or an upgrade. So yes, the heavily leaked Mavic 3 Classic has now been officially launched and is available for purchase. Perhaps you're at the front of the queue and have already bought yours. Perhaps you're waiting to see if it has any issues before committing to a purchase. That's the sensible thing to do, but we're not always sensible, are we? The Mavic 3 Cine is still available for purchase, of course, should you really need a useless telephoto wedged to the top of your premium Hasselblad camera, 1 terabyte of internal storage that takes all fucking day to transfer over, and a codec so CPU intensive only a $5,000 computer can edit it. As in all matters, you do you. The Classic flies the same as the Mavic 3 and the Mavic 3 Cine. Has the same battery and therefore flight time, the same 4/3 20 megapixel CMOS sensor, the same protective vision system, the same field of view and the same video resolutions. It's essentially what the original Series 3 Mavic should have been before DJI decided that you'd prefer to buy a drone instead of a second-hand car. Price tag aside, the key differences between the Classic and the Cine, that internal SSD and the telephoto lens, will probably not be missed by many people. And the other key difference, those Apple ProRes codecs, are really only of value to pros, not content creators, no matter how keen they are. Shooting in something like H.265 makes far more sense for the vast majority of people. Apart from a slightly redesigned gimbal cover, there are very few differences between the original Mavic 3 and the Classic. The new night mode is going to be of extremely limited use in countries like Australia, where you're not legally allowed to fly a drone at night without a full remote pilot's license and additional certifications. In countries where they don't treat the populace like naughty little children, I expect they'll love night mode and the cinematic footage that it can produce. The digital zoom, meanwhile, is a pointless and redundant piece of crap that serves only to degrade your footage. If you really need to zoom in, do it in post and upscale the footage properly. The new cruise control feature, however, looks excellent. You simply set the drone heading in the direction you like at the speed of your choosing, and just like cruise control on a car, you hit a button to have it continue at that speed. It'd be nice to see cruise control get added to other DJI drones, but I will not be holding my breath in anticipation because it's one of the few points of differences on this drone. Perhaps the developers of Litchi will come to the rescue of all other drone owners. So who are the target punters for DJI's new drone? At least one strategy is pretty clear. They want those of us with Mavic 2 Pros to flog our faithful friends and upgrade to the new goodness. Not the Air 2S owners, mind you, or the FPV, specifically the Mavic 2. And they're not being coy about their target audience either. If you look in the Mavic 3 Classic's FAQ on the DJI website, there's even a section titled, "Compared to DJI Mavic 2, what major upgrades does Mavic 3 have? What on earth are you driving at, DJI? In that FAQ, we learn that it has substantially upgraded camera performance, 5.1K 50 FPS and 4K 120 FPS videos, comprehensively upgraded flight experience, and flight time extended to 46 minutes. In last week's photography news video, I'll link it up there, I wondered who DJI's target audience was for this drone, and now it has become clear. Turns out it's me, a Mavic 2 Pro owner, and sensible bastards like me who understood that the Mavic 2 Pro was DJI's finest hour, and I'll fight you for it. Apparently us Mavic 2 Pro owners were more than happy to sit tight. We weren't tempted by the Air 2S, we weren't tempted by the original Mavic 3, we weren't tempted by the Mini 3 Pro, and we sure as fuck weren't tempted by the Avata. So in an act of desperation, DJI have decided to release a reasonably priced and extremely capable drone to see if that will, like a cattle prod to the bollocks, arouse our sensibilities. Will I, one of those pugnacious bastards that stuck by the Mavic 2 Pro, be upgrading? Not a chance. My drone doesn't suddenly stop shooting excellent high quality 4K video simply because a new model's been released. 12 and a bit stops of dynamic range aside, I still don't see a compelling reason to upgrade, and I won't unless I fly my 2 Pro into a cliff. Touch wood I don't do that. My drone shoots in 10-bit too, and I'm not going to scrabble around in the margins of the performance sheet for the sake of $2,500. People who are looking to buy a drone for the first time are faced with a much easier decision. While the Mini 3 Pro is a capable drone that dodges most of the restrictive flight regulations in most countries, it's not as capable as the Classic. For folks who don't care how portable their drone is, the superior camera and sensor on the Classic, along with that variable aperture, will be tempting. Combine that with the excellent DJI RC controller and you might find it far harder to resist saying, oh fuck it, and buying the Classic instead of the Mini. Here in Australia, the Mavic 3 Cine costs an eye-watering $7,199 Australian dollars, and the Mavic 3 Classic, even bundled with the excellent DJI RC, costs $2,599 Australian dollars. I know we should be comparing the Mavic 3 Classic with that original Mavic 3 Fly More model, but the Cine's the last man standing. And that price difference between the Cine and the Classic is substantial for a load of features that you probably don't want or need. You had our curiosity, DJI, but now you have our attention. This is a drone that's priced to sell. For $2,500 you get a flying Hasselblad camera that can stay aloft for 46 minutes and find its way home unsupervised from 15 kilometers away. What's not to like? The only real competition to the Classic is the Autel Evo 2 version 3, and while the Autel drone has 6K HDR video and comparable flight time, range and camera system, it also costs about $1,000 more. There will no doubt be some deals to be had, particularly after Christmas, and I expect you'll be able to find them on sale for about 5 to 10% less come the new year. So far so good. Does this mean the Mavic 3 Classic is the perfect drone? Well, no. While DJI have made big strides with their obstacle avoidance systems over the years, it's still not something you can fully rely on if you want to keep your drone intact. The Classic comes with a PAS 5, which DJI makes some big claims for, but which does not come close to the obstacle avoidance of something like a Skydio drone. The APAS 5 system seems to cope okay with really big stuff like buildings and cliff faces, but struggles badly with things like trees. Check out DC Rainmaker's review, which I'll link up here, to see exactly what I mean. But other than the obstacle avoidance, the Mavic 3 Classic appears to be a solid drone, and if you're buying a DJI's marketing, a worthy successor to the Mavic 2 Pro. So is the Mavic 3 Classic a smash or a pass? If you own anything older than a Mavic 2 Pro and are looking to upgrade, I'd say yes. If you're looking to buy your first drone and want a mid-sized drone, I'd say yes. However, for the owner of a Mavic 2 Pro, Air 2S or even a Mini 3 Pro, it's a different story. While the picture quality on the Mavic 3 Classic will definitely be an improvement over something like an Air 2S, it's an incremental update and, in my eyes, simply not enough to make the drone an essential upgrade. If you shoot video with your drone and upload it somewhere like YouTube, then the difference in quality at 4K will be marginal at best. Once video is compressed for YouTube, I defy anyone to tell the difference. It's certainly not enough to justify the hassle of selling your old drone and the expense of buying a new one. The new cruise control mode is a neat feature, ditto night mode, but these are software tweaks that could, in theory, be rolled out to the rest of the DJI range. The Mavic 3 is a good drone being sold at a sensible price, but it's an iteration, not a revolution. So there we go, guys. That's my take on the Mavic 3 Classic. Did you put your order in yet? Or do you plan to give the old Mavic 2 Pro another lap around the racecourse before you retire it to the back paddock? As always, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please flick me a like. And if you'd like to see more of my generalised photography bollocks in your YouTube feed, do me the honour of hitting that subscribe button. Till the next time, guys, ta-ta.